But we're going to look at another pair of differences. And this time those differences have title words that are called sensing and intuition. And again, that's all they are title words for those characteristics that Jung thought of. And he said those people who like sensing like information presented in order. They like the teacher to tell them things A, B, C, D. I want to understand each of the pieces, and then I can understand the whole idea. So when the teacher has a project for them, they like to ask a lot of questions, or they like the teacher to give them a lot of good directions so they know exactly what she wants them to do. Once they understand all that information, then it's easy for them to get the whole idea. But they don't like it if a teacher just says, go do whatever you want. It's your project, anything you want. They're like, well, how long does it have to be? And, can we do it by ourselves? And can I use materials? Or is it just drawing? Or is it writing? And once they have all those questions, it makes more sense for them. Okay? So they like doing the project more than coming up with the idea. And they like a lot of examples. So if a teacher is teaching an idea like fractions, have you had fractions yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Some kids say, oh, when I'm doing fractions, I want to practice them and practice them and practice them because they were a little bit hard to understand. But once I start practicing them, then they make a lot more sense to me. And they are pretty good about remembering information. And they like to do things. Whenever they're allowed to do things to experience, then they understand it better. But then there are other people who are different, and they prefer intuition. And those who prefer intuition say they like to learn lots of different things in lots of different ways. They like to have just a few directions. So if the teacher said to them, do your project any way you want, they'd be like, cool, okay, I'm ready. Because then they can go make up their own way of doing it, and they feel comfortable without that extra information. They like to get to know the main idea. That's important for them. But sometimes they forget the pieces, the details, and so then they would have to look those up. They have fun coming up with the ideas. So if the teacher says, work together as a team and come up with a good idea for a project to sell on parent night. Oh, they'd have fun making up the idea, but it would be harder work for them if they had to actually do the work. If they say, oh, let's make cupcakes with these special designs on them. They'd have more fun coming up with the idea than actually making the cupcakes and putting the design on. They like just a couple of examples, because once they get a couple of examples, then they go, okay, I get it. Let's go on. I'm ready to learn something new. They read for the main idea rather than for the details. And sometimes when they're working, sometimes they have such big ideas. Oh, they're so just wonderful ideas. But then they can't make them real. So they try, but like they might imagine building this huge sandcastle with hundreds of doors and hundreds of entrances and all kinds of gateways into it. But then when they get the bowl of sand, it's real hard to make that beautiful castle that they imagined in their head. So are you a person who is, all that information is wonderful and you use that and you love doing the pieces? Or do you like coming up with those ideas and looking at things from a different point of view?
I like coming up with different ideas.
Do you like that one? Okay, so you would put a check mark by that.